Good morning. Hello. Welcome, my dear friends. How's everybody today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, Jack. Hello, Carrie. Hello, Gwen. Good morning, good afternoon. Many blessings to all of you today. Happy Monday. Welcome to Coffee with the Council. Gwen, my weekend was incredibly relaxing. How was yours? A lot of resting. I took myself on an outing for lunch on Saturday and played a lot of games on Sunday. It was lovely. Actually, I did a lot of errands or chores too. Laundry, put a chair together, a bunch of stuff like that. Hello, Nancy, my dear friend from back east. Hello, hello. Oh, good, Jack. I'm glad to hear you're well. Hello, hello. Is anybody with us for the first time? Welcome to you. Say hi, tell us where you're from, tell us whether you're drinking coffee, tea, or water like me. Always drinking water. Carrie, how are you? The spiritual goat. Water for Carrie. You're not finishing up your coffee, or did you already do that? Gwen did some cleaning Saturday. Sunday went for a hike, Zoom call with friends, and reading a book. That sounds lovely, Gwen. I love that for you. And thanks for sending in your question for the council. That is awesome. I am excited today. I'm all rested up and recuperated from the weekend. We've got to keep this to roughly half hour. This is my busiest work day, and I have a meeting in an hour for work. So, I can't wait to hear their answers either. Today in the shower, they told me what we're talking about today, which is very exciting. They're moving on from the introduction to Is-ness, and they're going to get into the essence of Is-ness. So I'm excited to see what they have to say about this particular topic today. Carrie says, I've been a little weird lately, but then I'm always weird. Aw, have you been feeling off-centered, my dear? Nancy had a coffee earlier and doing some Reiki. Hey, CG, good to see you. CG is another beautiful teacher here. My friends, check her out. Say hi. I don't know what she's doing lately. CG, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've been doing lately on Insight Timer? It's so good to see you, indeed. It feels like it's been a while. Let's go, says Gwen. Carrie says very much so. Oh, Carrie, I hope today's session helps you feel a little more off-centered. I mean, a little more centered. I'm nudging you lovingly, my friend. Check your perspectives at the door, my friends. The council has always something wonderful to talk about. I'm glad you're laughing. I could tease Carrie. She's one of my older spiritual sisters. CG says, I haven't done much in here lately. I have one live on Sunday, but more towards the end of the month in May. Kind of busy right now. Yeah, life is busy lately for a lot of people, myself included. It's like March was really busy and April is really busy. So, yes, indeed. Unfortunately, I cannot talk about that. I am honoring IT's policy. You could talk all you want about it, Gwen. How's everybody feeling today? Carrie says she's feeling a little off, a little weird. Gwen is rested. Jack is good. How about everybody else? Anybody else want to do a quick check-in before I start? Anyone's first time at Coffee with the Council? It's my first time today. Please say hi. Tell us where you're from. My name is Greg Phillips. I'm a wayfinder, or I should say a way shower, and a channel. My purpose here on the planet currently is to guide people into the depths of their hearts so they can experience who they really, truly are from an energetic sense. And that is where I believe all meaningful transformation occurs, is when we skip over the thoughts and the words and drop right into the depth of our beautiful, beautiful hearts. So today what we're doing, this is day 9 of Coffee with the Council. They have been speaking to us the last 8 days about what I was calling an introduction to Is-ness, a variety of different topics related to a beginning understanding and deepening comprehension of the concept of Is-ness. And today they're going to get into it even more. It felt like, at least in the shower. So I'm excited to hear what they have to say. The Council of Seven is a group that I've been channeling for, a group of guides that I've been channeling for about a year now. They're very loving, they're very silly and playful, just like me, no surprise. And they're not 7 beings, they're actually a collective, a multitude of beings, and they represent 7 distinct energies or vibrations, frequencies if you will, that are vital for the evolution, spiritual evolution of humanity. The first of which is love. So love's a big theme for me, and you can CG. So they came to me in meditation. They started coming to me a year ago, January. I was in this really deep meditation, and as I was coming out of it, I just got this knowing and this sense, and I said to myself, someone's on the way. And I had no idea. I knew that meant from a channeling perspective. I'd already been I've been intuitively channeling, basically just channeling source and love for years, but I've never channeled any particular body or group or individual. So about 3 months later, last April, they actually revealed themselves to me over my crown chakra. They were floating on a cloud, and they were covered by cloaks, hooded cloaks, and I just knew they were the Council of Seven, and it's been a really fascinating journey ever since. The reason I'm doing Coffee with the Council is because I asked them last month, I set the intention that I want to deepen my connection with them and practice and calibrate and fine-tune my channeling, and also just hear more of what they have to say. And so they suggested that I do this session every weekday for 30 days. And then they said if I commit to this for 30 days, that my life will change forever. So why not? Why not commit to something where my life will change forever? See, Gwen, they removed it. You can't promote it either. They removed your text, so don't worry about it. Yeah, and the minute you mentioned one of the platforms, the bot auto-removed it. That's funny. CG says she feels okay. I feel like I'm doing what I feel today. That's great. Definitely that Aquarius energy we emerged into. The philanthropist came to you in rest by way of an introductory host called Cinda. Oh, that's so cool, CG. Wondered what happened to it. Yeah, don't worry about it, Glenn. It's all good. Catherine says, my friend sees small, funny, hooded figures she calls hood balls. That's funny. I wonder what they are. Hi, Mira. Good to see you. I remember your picture. It's always a happy day it's always a happy day when I get to see you. My dear friends, enough chit-chat. I have to keep this brief today because I have much job work to do today and a meeting in 40 minutes, which I still have to prepare for. So we're going to get into it. If it's anyone's first time, hello again. I'm Greg Phillips. I'm a way shower, which is a type of light worker, and a channel. And today we are channeling the Council of Seven, and they are going to give us a message for today. So I invite you to place your hand, your left hand preferably, on your beautiful heart chakra. Just begin to tap your heart with the palm of your hand, gently closing your eyes if you feel so inspired to, feet flat on the floor if you're sitting in a position that allows you to do that. And just gently repeat after me while you're tapping your heart with the palm of your hand. Heart, teach my mind. Heart, teach my mind. Heart, teach my mind. I am here. I am here. I am here right now. Good morning, our dear beloved friends. We greet you from the energetic realms where we love and celebrate each and every single morsel that you bite and chew on, every sip of your delicious beverages, every single sensory experience you have on planet Earth. We greet you this day and we welcome you to our coffee with us. And we indeed are very excited and thrilled to be breaching into a new level of conversation regarding Is-ness. For the last 8 days, we have been introducing you to the concept of Is-ness and a variety of other concepts surrounding Is-ness in order to help you understand and ultimately shift your relationship with time and to begin to comprehend Is-ness on a non-intellectual level, to more comprehend it in a knowing way in your heart. Today, what we will be discussing is one of the essential natures of Is-ness, and that is quite simply that Is-ness holds no duality. Is-ness holds no polarities, for Is-ness simply is. There is no right or wrong. There is no good or bad. Now, an important aspect for understanding this essential aspect of Is-ness is to begin to train your mind to see the world slightly differently. If you have been in the habit of looking at good versus bad, right versus wrong, us versus them. Now, even if this is not of a particular habit of mental pattern for you, particularly if you have grown spiritually in a way that you have trained yourself away from this, there is still always the reminders on your planet, and indeed in your daily lives, of this duality and this polarity. Indeed, for example, let's say that you are going about your day and suddenly something that you did not expect to have happen begins to happen and annoy you. For example, last night in the room next door to our beloved channel Greg, the fire alarm, or the smoke detector if you will, its battery had died and it was proceeding all night to have a series of beeps. Now fortunately he listens to sleep music from the beloved app, and it was not as noticeable, but it was clearly noticeable in the morning. Now, it is very easy in these moments, dear friends, or let's say, for example, that someone is making an excessive amount of noise in the kitchen and you are focusing on a creative project or trying to meditate. This indeed is a moment of contrast. And in this moment, there is the very natural and normal, we let you know, normal human tendency to immediately view this situation and push against it. This indeed is no different than an us versus them, or a good versus bad, or right versus wrong mentality. It is just subtly different because it is you versus the contrast, if you will. Now, why do we bring this up? The essential nature of how energy works within your existence is that you are always and forever connected to source. You are never not connected to source. And in the same manner, there is no such thing as not is-ness. For even the topics that we have been discussing over the last couple weeks, was-ness and not yet-ness, Indeed, those are simply isness being weighed down by your mind. And when the mind's weighing down is removed or resolved or neutralized, all that is left is isness. So even wasness and not yetness are indeed isness. They were, in fact, isness was used in the definition of what those are. So there is no such thing as not isness. So from the perspective of where we exist and the perspective of isness as a whole, there is no duality, there is no polarity, there is no good versus bad, there is no need for judging things according that way. Now, what would we offer if perhaps you have a tendency to emotionally or mentally get riled up when there is some contrast in your life? Again, we remind you, this is normal, this is natural. For the very existence on Earth, contrast is a natural part of the design, friends. It exists for a reason. It is. And understanding its isness, as well as isness as a whole, is very beneficial. Now, what we would offer, if you find yourself in the midst of a contrast, to reframe it in your mind. No longer using words such as good versus bad, or right versus wrong, or thinking in terms of me versus the contrast, or us versus them. Indeed, making it more neutral by saying, this works for me, or this doesn't. I prefer this, or I don't prefer this. Now, the beauty of reframing using certain phraseology that is different from the duality, when you say this works for me or it doesn't, you very much take on the accountability, if you will. You take responsibility for how you are thinking and feeling. You are not simply quickly making a snap judgment and labeling them and putting them in boxes that are not personal. You are saying, this works for me or this doesn't. And the reality is, if something doesn't work for you, for example, you may love broccoli but dislike cauliflower, you don't sit there judging cauliflower, shaming it, making it bad. You just simply don't eat it. You may not like orange juice. You may favor pineapple juice or apple juice. You do not walk around in your day speaking to everybody about how loathsome orange juice is. No, you simply don't drink it. This is the beauty of works for me versus doesn't work for me. I prefer this versus I don't prefer this. Now, speaking of food is much easier to see as an example because there is usually no emotional charge around food. There is about certain foods for certain individuals, we understand this, but there is charge around other things. If something gives you an emotional charge, and this is something indeed to begin the process of neutralization with. We wish to invite you to simply look at this contrast that is giving you an emotional charge. This may be an event or a person or an organization out in the world. This may be a personal relationship that you have. This may be a situation with your relationships, your finances, with your home. It matters not what the specific example is. But we wish to invite you to be simply present with what is about this particular contrasting situation that is providing you very important, normal, natural contrast. For it is through the contrast that you expand, our dear friends. It is through the contrast that you get the opportunity to investigate what you are believing, what you are choosing to think and focus on. And through the introspection, the investigation, the digging deep, the sifting and sorting through your belief systems, your patterns of thought, and however you have defined things, once you recognize and realize what you have defined or what you have been believing unconsciously for a long time, you indeed then begin to take back your power of choice. And when you have your power of choice firmly in your heart and in your hands and in your mind, you then are living, or beginning to live, the most fulfilled life possible on the planet and in the most beneficial relationship with contrast itself. So we believe that we will stop here at this point. Well, no, we will make one more point. understand that the mentality of duality, polarity, good versus bad, right versus wrong, us versus them, truly comes not from you, but it comes from what you learned as a child. Indeed, you were unconsciously ingesting, if you will, comments from family, friends, schooling, society at large. And because this was shown to you, demonstrated, very much set an example for, in many ways, the psyche of you as a child, as a younger person, indeed assumed that this is just the way things work. We're sure that many of you can think of at least one or two things that your parents said or did that at some point you realized, I had come to accept that as the way things are, but then you had an experience later in life in which you realized that's not how it is. For example, parents might have conveyed that it is not okay to express negative emotions, and yet once you had your spiritual beginning, you found that you needed to embrace your feelings. And you had people, friends, family, therapists, assistants, guides, whoever, basically tell you it is okay to feel all emotions. And so in that new learning, you realized, I had carried a belief that it was not okay to share my anger, to share my tears, to share my melancholy, to share my sadness. And yet you know now, as an adult, having grown spiritually, to whatever degree you have particularly grown, you are knowing more and more that such a thing is not true anymore, and it does not work for you. It is not good versus bad. It is what works for you and what does not work for you, what you prefer and what you do not prefer. So, with that said, we feel that we have said enough. We hope that this is at least comprehensible to some or all of you. If there are any questions, we will see if there is time for our dearly beloved Channel Greg to answer any of them. If not, we will simply continue tomorrow with more of this particular topic. We hope that this finds you well, and again, we love and celebrate each and every single one of you, each and every single experience you have in life from moment to moment to moment. This indeed is our joy, and this indeed is absolutely essential for our celebration of you in your lifetime. We thank you, we love you, and we bid you good day. Hello. I'm back. Hello, anybody who joined us a little late. Welcome. Hi, Sherry, you made it. Perfect timing. How was that? Wow, that felt like a lot of energy coming through. My God, I was like practically buzzing in there. How you guys feeling? Ooh, all warm. Gwen says, thank you so much, Greg and Council. You're welcome, my dear. Carrie, that was a wonderful bit of information. It was more than a bit. It feels like it was a lot. Gwen is feeling better. Sherry, wow, that was a great explanation. Brought more clarity. Oh, goody. I am glad. I have brief 5 minutes for any question of clarification on what the council shared. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for being here. The good examples always work. Did they give good examples? I think they did. I feel like so much was coming through me that I'm having a little trouble. I'm gonna have to re-listen this because I think I was so... Yeah, they were so in the flow. They were really in the zone with sharing that information that I'm not even sure what we talked about. Yes, it was, but a great revelation of things. Yes, very good clarity. Very good. I'm so glad. It was very energetic. I think I need to listen again. I think I do too. This replay will not be uploaded right away. I have work things to do this morning, but I will have it up at some point today. Catherine says, I'm at a job I hate, and I'm really thinking of quitting. I'm trying to figure out whether to or not. Well, I would investigate. It's just a suggestion, Catherine, and I'm never attached. Any guidance I give is just out of service and not out of attachment of being right or wrong. But I would say that today's message is very important for finding a path of neutrality regarding that. Because when you think about hate, it's a very strong perspective, isn't it? There's a huge emotional charge, which means you're deep in contrast regarding your job. So I think that the important thing in this kind of a situation is really taking the council's message today as deeply into your heart as you can. Yes, exactly, she says. You're on it then. I love that for you. Yeah. I think that this will help. Neutralizing the emotional charge that occurs from particular contrast it's not a project to do, my friends. It is simply a spiritual practice. It is simply a practice of introspection, taking a look at what am I believing or thinking about that is causing me to feel this emotional charge around this particular thing. That's all you have to do. There's nothing to resolve. There's nothing to heal. There's nothing. I mean, yes, you need to let go of that belief eventually. But once you identify the belief, you can see that it isn't serving you, or you can see that it's absolutely redunculous. And then you can laugh it off, or you can release it and let it go. And you create this space in your heart for a new belief to come in. You do not even need to know what that new belief is yet. You just need to be willing to believe differently. That is how I work with it. And hopefully that works and helps you as well. Hi, Faz. How to navigate when someone states always and never. Always and never. I'm not sure that relates to the... Yes, it actually does relate to the council's message today. I would definitely... Thank you, Linda. I appreciate your beautiful donation. Thank you so much. I always enjoy and celebrate those. Wonderful, wonderful. Always good to have you here, my dear. How to navigate when someone states always and never. Well, always and never are a kind of polarity, aren't they? Always meaning everything, always, all the time, never meaning never, nothing, nothing. So I think that the council's message for this is also incredibly relevant. Again, it all comes down to perspective and noting when we're getting an emotional charge from that contrast and what the belief is behind that, because there is no inherent meaning in anything we experience in life, even in the experiences we have with other individuals. We're the ones assigning the meaning. We're the ones defining what it means. And sometimes, often, we're doing that unconsciously from beliefs that we picked up when we were younger, or beliefs that we picked up before we, started our spiritual journey. And it is our beautiful, beautiful task we get the opportunity through contrast to explore and let go and alter and reform our beliefs. And every time we do that, we're exercising our power of choice. And every time we exercise our power of choice, we're creating our reality. So there is a lot of power to that. Well, it's just seeing the duality. I guess I don't have time for it now, Faz, but I would need more specifics. The next time I do a live where I take personal questions like this, please do try to attend. That would be a wonderful one to ask and clarify about, because I'm sensing there's much more to it than you're saying. Linda says, good morning, Greg. My upbringing at the formal dinner table was to say, I prefer not to have that. Never a negative comment towards food, as would offend my mother as she prepared dinner. Oh, okay. It was very to the point without explanation. Love that they brought that up. Oh, good, good. Wonderful. It's always a question of degrees, is what I've come to believe for myself. I believe in a question of degrees. And to one of the council's points at the beginning of the message, we are never not connected to source. There is no such thing as being completely disconnected from source. We are always part of our soul. Our soul is infused into our body, not stored not the body being a vessel, but the body is within the soul, is my belief system. And so the body is never separate from the soul. There's just a question of degrees. There's a question of, and I think one of their points was that, well, they didn't actually say this, but something they told me in the shower is, from their perspective, from Source's perspective, there is no good versus bad. There's always just good. It's just a question of a matter of degrees. So it's any duality or polarity is usually coming from the mind, not from the physical mind, not from the higher mind. Because the higher mind sees the isness of everything. The higher mind sees the beauty of everything. Even if it's just even an eensy-weensy little bit of beauty, there's still goodness and beauty in all of that. Good morning, Jackie. Hello, hello. Good to see you, Jackie. All right, my friends. Oh, hi, there's Madeline. I was in another live that went overtime. What was today's topic? Just in one word or so. The council introduced, well, they discussed duality and polarity and how that doesn't exist in Is-ness. I think that was their primary point. But they spent a fair amount of time talking about recognizing and working with contrast within the duality, within polarity. They basically, I think that they're going to get into it much more tomorrow. So I think, is that a good summary, guys? You tell me. I'm having trouble remembering everything they said because I was really into it this morning. Carrie, exactly. Like the moments of joy game. It's either a joy of 1 or a joy, it's not either. It's a matter of degrees. 1 through 10, it's a scale. 1 doesn't mean there's no joy. It means there's just an eensy-weensy little bit of joy. We can find joy in almost everything. It may not be our preferred type of joy either, but yes, just like the joy game. Linda says, thank you for sharing your blessings from the council with us. Love to you, Greg. Oh, thank you, Linda. Very, very good. All right, my friends. I have to send you off because I must prep for this absolutely important Monday morning work meeting. Thank you so much for being here. I look forward to having you come back. We will continue to do Coffee with the Council through the rest of April, and I think that we'll probably continue it in May, but I might change the time. I don't know. We're going one day at a time right now with it, but thank you for your enjoyment and appreciation of the Council and their messages. And tomorrow, I'm looking forward to seeing what juicy stuff that they wish to talk about tomorrow. I love you guys dearly. Have a beautiful day, and I am going to skedaddle. Bye.